So we are
We are back,
with
yes.
the best films or our favorite films
Yes.
of the year.
I have to
right?
talk about your beard.
Okay, let's talk about it.
My wife didn't see it before. She said, "Look at Travis! Oh my God, look at the beard." I said, "Have you seen it in a while?" And she said, "No." I said, "He comes to the house all the time, but you're in the back."
You're right.
That's right. But,
That's funny.
How long do you intend to keep it?
I grew it for Bride of Violence.
Oh, you're in the film?
No, I just grew it because method directing.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to look like a
yes.
wild man
Yes,
in the wilderness
okay,
while
okay,
shooting
so-
Bride of
okay.
Violence.
Actually, that's an interesting point where the director assumes his kind of demeanor and manner to deal with either the genre of the film or the
Right.
mood of the film.
Right.
John Huston, for instance, had a thing where it was
He'd
in,
wear like the wardrobe,
yes,
right? Of it,
in
yeah.
the budget.
Yeah.
It was in the budget that he had to have, I think, 8 suits of different colors.
That's great.
In the period, of
Yeah.
the thing, but they would be modern styled, but in the period of whatever film he was making. So if
Right.
it was a western, if it was a war picture, it was a detective story,
Yeah.
he would wear that kind of thing. Anyway, that has nothing, well, it has something to do with film, but
Yeah.
nothing to do with the
No.
10 best
Right, it's fine.
selection.
But no, my number 10, I'm
Yes,
starting with number
yeah.
10, is Sully.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood's film. I'm not a huge Clint Eastwood fan, but he makes solid films. But I was really astounded by Sully. I thought it was amazing how strong of a movie it was from such a simple story,
Right.
and he just kept it so simple. He didn't try to do anything fancy with it, which is what's good about him. And it was refreshing to see a movie that was just about people doing good things. That's what the movie
Yes,
is,
yes.
The only thing that I didn't like about the film was the conversations with his wife. We talked about that. I thought that was the weakest part, but it still, to me, belongs in my top 10.
Yeah, I could see that. It would be in one of my runners up. But I remember when I saw the film, 2 things impressed me. One was Eastwood's direction.
Yep.
I thought, gee whiz, as I watched the film, look at how this guy has become such a terrific director that there's nothing showy about it whatsoever. I mean, it's so simple, it's so confident, it's so direct. The other was, once again, and I mean, I keep rediscovering how terrific he is Tom Hanks' performance. That was so, again, straightforward and simple and great. And to me, one of the defining moment for the film was the scene where he is sitting, where I guess he's in the hotel lobby, and he asks the lady, one of the attendants at the hotel, and he says something to the effect of, I have a suit that needs dry cleaning, and do you think it's possible I could get it by tomorrow morning if there won't be too much trouble? And she looks at him and she says, "Trouble? If it was up to me, I'd give you the whole hotel." And I thought that was such a wonderful moment, And she hugged him, and he looked, and he said, "What happened?" And his friend said, Aaron Eckhart, who gave a great performance in that. And he's always underrated.
Right.
I'm
going to talk about him some more, too.
Yeah, he turns and he just says, "You just were hugged by a complete stranger."
Right. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
I love it. I love that film. So, cool. What's your number 10?
My number 10, I made a list because was Bloodfather.
Oh, great.
Okay, we saw
Fantastic.
it. And I said here, it's starring the politically incorrect Mel Gibson in a well-made grunge picture.
Right.
Because it is a grunge film. And it's low-budgeted or lower budgeted than normal for somebody like Mel Gibson.
Right.
And it deals with a rough-hewn subject. And the critics just threw the film away. They kind of decided that it was in the lower grade genre of Taken, that kind of thing. And we went to see it.
Yeah.
And we came out just totally impressed with the film.
Yeah.
And more than that, impressed with Mel Gibson, who is bearded like you are, and except that it's quite great. And he gives a tremendous performance that drives the picture.
Right.
The others are very good in it, but he really drives the film, and he gets no recognition for that, for his actor's chops. And that's why I listed it as my number 10. Okay.
I like that choice. It would be in my runners-up. It
Okay.
will be in my runners-up list.
Okay.
I have a lot of fondness for the movie.
Number 9.
Number 9. All right. Number 9 for me is Bleed for This.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
I've not seen it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, this is where I'm going to talk more about Aaron Eckhart, because he's actually in my number 10 and my number 9. He's in Sully, and he's in Bleed for This. And I was so impressed with his performance that I thought they should just hand him an Oscar. Don't even, you know what I mean? There's no competition. I mean, it's one of those roles that he plays the trainer who takes Vinny Paz both before and after his accident. It's about a real life boxer who was not paralyzed, but he broke his neck in a car accident and made a huge comeback and won the world title. And Aaron Eckhart plays, I can't remember the guy's name. I think his name is Kevin. And he...
Kevin Rooney.
And he also trained Tyson.
Tyson, right. That's the same fight. Yeah.
He's an overweight alcoholic trainer. And what impressed me about the performances is definitely one of those performances that could have just leaned on the fact that he gained weight or shaved his head, all the physical elements of it. You very quickly forget about all those things, and he's just great. And I listened to an interview with the director, Ben Younger, and I guess he sat with Aaron Eckhart, and he said, Aaron, do you want to be great again? Because I think you are a great actor. And Aaron said, yes, I do. And then Aaron said to Ben, do you want to be great again? He's like, yes, I do. Let's make this movie. Right? And I think that even though it hasn't gotten the proper recognition, that they did achieve that. Miles Teller I just watched Whiplash again. And the performances are very different, but they could be compared to each other. The same level of passion, dedication, and intensity. So I think he's perfect.
You mean E.K. Simmons gave in
what?
this film?
No. Miles Teller.
The
young man in
I see.
Whiplash and
in
right.
Yes.
In
I didn't realize he was in the...
he plays Vinny Paz.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's excellent in the role. Anyway, it's just to me, it's not Raging Bull, but it's certainly more Raging Bull than it is Rocky. You know what I'm saying? And it's it's the best boxing movie I've seen in a long time. So I just again want to sing the praises for the film. I also love that by some standards it's a financial failure. It didn't light up the box office, but it was only made for $5.5 million or something, so it already made its money back. So I love seeing that even though it maybe didn't light up the box office, that it was a success, and hopefully they make more films with the director, and Miles Teller makes more films like that. So that's number 9.
Yeah, no, my only comment on that is that I follow boxing, and I followed Vinny Paz's career. And I said this for Kevin Rooney. He was the best trainer Mike Tyson ever had. And had he stayed with Mike Tyson, or Mike Tyson stayed with him, Mike Tyson moved on. I don't think Mike Tyson would have ever lost a fight in his career. That's how good I think Kevin Rooney as a trainer was. Yeah. Yes, I don't think he would have lost.
I look forward to talking about the movie when you see it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it after you told me, and so I didn't get a chance
it left
to
theaters
see
pretty quickly.
Okay, so that was your number
9.
9.
What's your number 9?
My number 9 was Hail Caesar.
Okay.
The film with George Clooney. Again, that got dismissed by the critics, but I liked it a lot. This year we had 3 films that attempted to portray the 1950s Hollywood, when the studio system was still flourishing. One was Woody Allen's movie. What was the name?
Cafe Society.
Cafe Society. And then Warren Beatty's film called, what was it?
Rules Don't Apply.
Rules Don't Apply. And then this is far away the best of them.
Okay.
It's a satire. Satire is not easy to do. And they bring it off. Clooney again shows what a good actor he can be playing a dumb character. He does that very well. This one was written and directed by the Coen brothers,
right?
With a great deal of affection for old Hollywood, the studio system. It even has an amusing musical number in it. But the thing is, the insight as to the whole Red Scare that Hollywood went through. The persuasion of the studios and how they created images for their actors back and forth. And again, another underrated performance, because it doesn't have all the showy bells and whistles, is Josh Brolin's performance as the leading. He's the lead as their studio head.
He's the fixer.
Yes, he's the fixer. He's the studio man who has to go in and do it all, fix all the bad things that or misbehavior of actors, star actors. And so, to me, it was a terrific film. I missed it in the theaters because the critics kind of jumped on it, and I thought, oh God, another miss. And then I saw it on cable, and it kept surprising me. I kept like, my God, this is wonderful. This is great. And it was a whole discovery, and I thought it was wonderful for that.
That's great. I'm going to check it out now that you've recommended it, because I was doubtful. The Coen brothers are hit or miss for me. I think I wanted to just say one thing. You said that, Clooney's so good at playing an idiot in the movie. And this is supposedly the completion of their idiot trilogy, which started with Clooney, which started with Oh Brother Art Thou, Intolerable Cruelty, and then So it took them years to make this. They've been kicking this film around for like 10 years.
I know, and so they brought it off.
Yeah, I'm glad that they brought it off. Okay, number 8. Number 8 for me is Dog Eat Dog. So I really like this film. It's a Paul Schrader movie starring Nicolas Cage and Willem Dafoe. It's not perfect, but I loved its passion and intensity and its willingness to just sort of break all the rules and just do whatever it wanted. But it didn't feel to me to be doing so in a self-indulgent way, at least for me. I liked the performances. I thought that Cage was on point at his best, and I thought that Willem Dafoe was very memorable as the annoying and pathetic, perverted, and incredibly violent criminal. It's one of the few movies that has been made about criminals where you really feel like these are real criminals. They can exist. They make very bad mistakes often. And I also like that, unlike Schrader's other movies that he's directed, it doesn't really have his Calvinist judgment approach to the work. It was more just kind of just showed the people as they were. So I really liked the movie. I
remember you did. And you recommended it to me, and I saw it on cable, and that would wind up in my also rans. Like that. I think where we trade things is Bloodfather for me,
right,
versus
Dog Eat Dog for me.
For you. So
I'll always have the Nicolas Cage will always give it the handicap too, because it's my favorite actor.
Yeah, handicap it with that.
What's your number 8?
Okay, my number 8 is Eye in the Sky.
Okay,
you've seen that.
Yes, I put it. It would be in my runners up.
Yeah. Okay, and what I say here for me is I say, it's a tense and exciting story of modern technological warfare. There have been a few films dealing with this subject, drone warfare. And it's technological because you sit in a room and you watch, people hundreds of thousands of miles away from you that you can kill. Like this. And this film really asks, I think, in an exciting, suspenseful way, good questions, ethical questions, about the moral responsibility we have now that we can do this kind of thing,
right?
Like this. And on top of that, again, Helen Mirren always gives good performances. That's sort of a given. But everybody in it is terrific. And sadly, it was Alan Rickman's last performance.
Yeah,
and
he's very good in it.
Yes, there've been talk about some sort of posthumous Academy Award nomination. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but boy, I'd love to see him just recognized for that. It would be nice. It's sentimentally it would be nice. So you've seen the film.
Yeah, that film came out earlier in the year, and I'm glad that it stuck with you. And I saw it a couple months ago on Amazon Prime. I think it's great. I actually would say that it's one film on the list that I don't think is a problem to see at home, because to me it generates conversation.
Yes.
Not just after the movie, but when I watched it with my parents, we're talking back to the screen and to each other during the movie. Why are they doing this? What is this?
Yes.
The other thing that I haven't seen about the film is it almost reaches Doctor Strangelove level satire, where it's so scary but also funny how the bureaucracy and politics of warfare work and going up the chain of command. So I thought that it's just a great film that make you think about all of these elements of what it takes just to try to bomb one terrorist,
And as you said, I mean, the whole bureaucratic system of passing the buck is really what we see. And when immediate answers are required,
right?
That involves the safety of a lot of people or sometimes just a life of one.
Right.
You know, and I thought that's why I picked it as, you know, my number 8.
Yes,
yeah.
number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We'll get to do number 7 first.
Number 7 for me is a film called Men Go to Battle.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that.
And I had told you about that, and I caught it on Netflix. I didn't see it in
Yeah.
theaters. It didn't play in Phoenix in theaters, to my knowledge. It's directed by a guy named Zachary Treitz, and he is I guess he's a...
Are we on?
Yeah.
So
He's a post-sound guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a sound guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's his debut feature. It's a movie set during the Civil War, and it's about 2 brothers who live in Kentucky, I believe, during the Civil War. I liked that they approached that subject in a way that I've never seen approached, meaning that it just feels like almost a modern day film just made about a couple people, but it just happens to be set during this time. It's very low key. It shows us all of the dull parts of life, but in a non-dull way, right? And it just explores these 2 brothers and their relationship as the war is coming, and there's nothing showy or fancy about it. I mean, even when we finally get to the battle scenes, it's so almost absurd how it plays out, but it feels very real. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That in real life, you might drop your gun and never get to shoot. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I really liked its approach, and it was basically almost like a... the movement of mumblecore. It was like a mumblecore Civil War movie, and I thought that was really good and clever. So I just wanted to shout out about that film. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, I have not seen it, so I can't.
Right. Hopefully you can catch it at some point.
Yeah.
So that's it for me. 7.
7. I didn't get my number 7. Okay. Hello, High Water.
Okay.
Is my number 7. I picked from the mainstream thing, except in a few occasions.
Right.
But again, I say here this is David Mackenzie's film, and I think it's a story we've seen a lot. Yeah. But I think what gives the story its drive, what makes it different to me, was one, the cinematography. He found locations that really look very different from what I've seen, and then the actors made me care really about them, particularly. Who's become just a staple actor, Jeff Bridges. His performance is so relaxed and so sure that it really anchors the film, although he's not the principal character. And then you have the 2 brothers who carries it the rest of the way. But I just like the look of the film, the approach to that story, and the way it plays out. And so that's why I picked it as my number 7.
I like it. I had some issues with it that we discussed.
What were some of the issues?
I like Chris Pine in it a lot, but Ben Foster was a little too much at times for me. The Wild Brother, they pushed it just a little too much. Like when they go to the casino and there's the thing with the woman, it just, to me, it got a little bit, okay, I get it. He's the wild card. I didn't need that much in the script. I didn't like the relationship between Bridges and his partner, the racist slurs towards it. It just got redundant. And from the get-go, I won't ruin it, but from the very first scene with them, I was totally ahead of the picture, and I knew what was going to happen in that relationship. And then when it happened, I was like, well, of course, they were just setting it up. So I liked a lot of it, and I particularly loved the ending of the movie. But there were elements of it that I just thought, one of those one more rewrite, guys. Come on, one more rewrite thing. So
it's good to get a dissenting perspective on stuff that where we disagree, because we do disagree.
Yeah.
And I keep telling you that it's an age thing.
Nice.
I said I'm older, so.
But I do think that it's a solid picture,
Yeah.
And I like Mackenzie a lot too. And he's one of those that can make a film that feels very American, even though he's not American.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Okay.
My number 6 is Captain Fantastic.
Okay.
With,
that's
with
a good choice.
Viggo Mortensen. I love this movie. It's the only movie I've seen this year that truly got better after we've seen it. I did not see it twice. I think you did see it twice.
Yes.
But since we saw it in July or August, whenever it was, it's only gotten better and better. And just like Eye in the Sky, but in a totally different way, I think it's a film that generates conversation about life, raising your kids, politics, philosophy, all these things. It's very entertaining without ever being cheesy. It feels very real. It doesn't pull any punches. And it just shows that Viggo, to me, is one of the best American actors working.
Absolutely. I mean, he gives a terrific performance in it. And again, as you said, the film seems to be going in one direction, but it changes and it goes in a different direction.
Right.
And so it becomes unpredictable. And being unpredictable, it makes it truer to how these things play out. Because on one side, we think there's a hero somewhere at the center, and then we realize maybe he isn't, the character isn't, and it just shifts around. And as you say, it's a film that generates a lot of conversation, and I always like it when a picture makes me want to talk back to it. And very few films really do that, unless I want to say boo or humbug. But
That's funny.
Never, very few make me want to engage in exchange of ideas where I can maybe learn something as well as teach something.
Absolutely.
Like that. So I go along with that a lot.
It is that film for sure. And I'm really happy that he, through time, has generated attention for his performance. And it looks like he will probably get an Oscar nomination out of it. That's what they say. And I'd love to see that just because he's good. What's your number 6?
My number 6, I have to go back to my wonderful list here. Loving.
Cool.
You've not seen that one. And again, I wrote out a little thing. I said, a story about love and race that doesn't hit you over the head with righteousness or stern moral sermonizing. It just tells the story of two people who want to be left alone and live their own lives without legal interference, which happens all over the place. It also contains, to me, one of the most underrated performances of the year, and that is Joel Edgerton as the husband. The woman who plays the wife has been properly and justifiably praised for her performance, but Joel Edgerton gives a quietly beautiful performance as the husband that I really wish somebody had recognized, but I'd like to recognize it because it is so good. The film tells the story so simply and so directly that it is affecting in a very nice way. As I said, it doesn't moralize or anything like that. And for that, that's why I picked it as one of my best of the year.
Jeff Nichols, who directed it, is one of, I think, the best working filmmakers right now. And he's one of the only younger filmmakers, in my mind, who's making serious pictures that aren't showy or flashy. With movies like his first one, Shotgun Stories, Take Shelter, which I loved. I thought it was amazing. Mud, which was a very solid film. And then I did not see, he had 2 films come out this year, and I didn't see either.
Midnight Special.
Saw both. Midnight Special and Loving. So I need to catch up on those two.
Midnight Special was flawed, but it still could be in, say, a runners-up list. Because it's a science fiction film mixed with some social commentary. And it's interesting. And he has Michael Shannon in there, who
in all of his films.
Yes.
So I like that. They started together, and so far they've made 5 pictures together, which is pretty amazing.
And you watch Michael Shannon evolve as one of the better actors.
Oh yeah,
he
was in I think 6 films this year.
I know.
He was in a lot.
Yeah, because Michael Shannon is in Nocturnal Animals, and to me, he's the best thing in it.
Yeah. All right, number 5 for me is Silence. Martin Scorsese's.
Okay, we both saw that together.
Yes, recently. That's we saw fresh. After it. I was going to say it's the last film we saw before making this list. I refused to make this list until I saw Silence because, real briefly, I've been waiting for this movie. Not as long as Scorsese's been trying to make it, but I remember when I first heard it announced years and years ago, more than 10 years ago, I immediately went out and picked up the book. I read the book.
And you loaned it to me, and I read it.
You read it. My mom read it. I was very into it, and been hoping that he would make this. Also, was looking forward to this because I feel like some of the projects that he's done lately they don't feel like they are organic to who Scorsese is. That doesn't mean that they aren't well made, but it feels like it's more Scorsese the craftsman, with things like Wolf of Wall Street, Departed, Shutter Island. Here we get back to the passionate Scorsese, who's coming straight from his heart with the film. It's so sincere, so well done. It may be a little bit too long, but for a film that is that long about what it's about, I think for me, it's incredibly entertaining. And I was enthralled in the story the entire time. I felt like the way that he staged the persecution scenes was the best I've ever seen.
Yes.
And as I told you when we left the theater, just one persecution scene in that movie is more powerful than the entire Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, because
I
the
agree.
way that he's done it. I love the performances. I think Andrew Garfield with that and Hacksaw is proving that he's one of the most exciting actors to watch. Adam Driver, Liam Neeson, and the Japanese cast were amazing. I don't know their names, but man, they were just so good. And having been a missionary growing up and seen films throughout the years that portray missionaries, whether it's The Mission with Robert De Niro, which I do like, or something like A Play in the Fields of the Lord, I felt like this film, even though it's completely opposite from my experience as a missionary, really captured what that is like. And I felt like I knew those people on screen, that they were fellow missionaries from when I was a child. So I love the movie.
Yeah, it's in my list too.
Cool.
And what I liked it is I'll go into what I liked about it when I do. And that was number one?
That was number 5 for me.
Okay. Number 5 for me is Hacksaw Ridge.
Okay.
And
our Andrew Garfield number 5 picks.
Yes. And we saw that together as well.
Yep.
And I said, this was directed by the moving toward becoming the politically correct.
There we go.
Mel Gibson.
Don't worry, he's going to get off of that track anytime soon.
Because Black Father was a politically incorrect.
Right.
This is he's moving as a director to it. I love the story more than you did, I remember, because of its simple, straightforward portrayal of a genuine hero. And the last 40 minutes, the Hacksaw Ridge section, is some of the most intense and made me actually feel the horror of war considerably more than virtually anything except for the opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
Both films did that for me. And going to the young man, Andrew Garfield, the simple, straightforward way he performed the character was to me a revelation of his own good acting, but also, again, a portrait of a genuine hero, just like Sully was. A genuine hero doing something not because it's a heroic thing or even a religious thing, but because something inside of him impelled him to do it. Like that. And that's the reason I like the film. You had some dissenting things. Why don't we talk about that as well?
Well, I first let me say what I like about the movie. I think that the part of the film, the 40 minutes or so that takes place on Hacksaw Ridge, is really well done, and that's where I felt like Gibson was at his best with the movie. I felt that the screenplay was muddled. I felt that the relationship with him and his father, and then him and his brother, there were too many reasons for why they tried to prove why this guy is a pacifist. But in the end, I didn't need that to be proved at all. I felt like all of that could have been cut out, and I just would believe he is. This is what he believes, and he's going to go through these trials to stick to what he believes. So I felt like they tried to hammer that home. I didn't like the beginning part that much. So that's me. And the boot camp scenes to me were just, they didn't feel right. They felt overdone and a sort of an odd mix of Full Metal Jacket and trying to be funny. And Vince Vaughn, I appreciate that he tried to do something different, but the script wasn't there to support him, in my opinion. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I felt the movie was made in 3 parts, really.
Right.
I felt the first part was sort of an Ozzie and Harriet movie with dysfunction.
Right.
And then I thought the middle was, as you say, somewhere between From Here to Eternity
and Full Metal Jacket.
Metal Jacket. And then the third part was the Hacksaw Ridge, Saving Private Ryan kind of
For sure.
thing. And I like that.
The first 2 parts definitely recall a sort of old-fashioned style of filmmaking.
And I like that because of the period the story happens in. So that's our 2 differences on that.
Exactly.
Okay, good.